I'm Dusty Weiss along with Tom Daniel and Sally Fliss, and we're joined today by AJ Allmendinger, driver of the number 16 Nutrien Ag Solutions Chevy Camaro at Kaulig Racing. AJ, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So first and foremost, Nutrien Ag Solutions entered the Xfinity NASCAR Series in 2019. Now, in 2022, in your first year as the driver of the number 16 Nutrien Ag Solutions Chevy Camaro, easy for me to say, you secured our first win at Circuit of the Americas. What did it mean for you and the team at Kaulig Racing for you to secure that first win for a multi-year sponsor?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal, especially for me. Anytime I get a new sponsor, of course you want to win for them right away. And just being a part of the Kaulig family and seeing what Nutrien Ag Solutions has done growing with the Kaulig family, it was a lot of fun to be able to pull into victory lane, and that's what's always special about it. When you have people from that company standing there in victory lane, being able to share it with you, it means a lot. So I think we had a good time with it, and we've been able to build off of that. So, you know, it's been very important for me because I've always made it, you know, a point to say, like, I'm not a farmer. I've never been around it. So to be able to understand on the side of what Nutrien Ag Solutions means to not only us, but all throughout the world, really, I've learned a lot. And then the best way I can repay them is going out there and trying to win races and getting that name on TV even more.
So, AJ, you got a chance to come out to Boone, Iowa, and we had the event out there at the Farm Progress Show. I don't know, it's been just a few weeks ago, I think. And you visited many race suites ahead of the green flag. So you'll come into our suite and talk to our customers and our retail guys that are at the race experience. What's your impression of the individuals that you're driving for now? You're driving for Nutrien Ag Solutions. So what's your opinion of the people that you've met and that you're representing on race day now?
Yeah, it's always fun to go to the suite and to be able to meet different people. You know, it's a lot like I'm doing with Nutrien Ag Solutions of learning what you all go through and what a daily basis and you know, what you bring to this world. And what, quite honestly, you know, a lot of it for a lot of you, what your lives have been, because, you know, I feel like you kind of grow up into this, or you have a passion for it right away, and this is the path that you choose. So it's fun to be able to share my passion and, you know, bring new people in to understand, okay, this is what I do every weekend, and this is what I've grown up doing. Especially for people that have never been to a NASCAR race or doesn't know what it's all about, or aren't fans, and maybe you make new fans because of it. So it's always a lot of fun to go to the suite, and especially we always have a lot of people in there, and that's what makes it great for me. It's, you know, you get one or two people in there, it's like, okay, you know, you talk to them and you leave, but when you have a huge group of people to be able to share that passion with, it makes it a lot of fun for me, and you know, I don't need any more added motivation, but it doesn't hurt either. So you meet all those people, it just gives you that little extra motivation to go out there and try to get the job done that day.
So AJ, you have brought the Nutrien Ag Solutions paint scheme to victory lane 3 times on road courses this year, and you're mentioning that path, that upbringing in your race career. So how has that led to your success on these road courses with the Nutrien Ag Solutions car?
Well, I'll be the first one to say I was quite mad that I missed it at Daytona by about 2 inches. Like,
that was an exciting race.
Thought that was going to be. I was like, okay, yep, this is the way we're going to do this right away. Like, I'm going to be Nutrien Ag Solutions for life at this point. Win at Daytona in my first race. So I was so disappointed to miss it by that much. But you know, my life has grown up on road courses. I started off. Technically, I actually wanted to race motocross. That was the first thing I wanted to do. I started off in BMX bicycles, and when I was 8 years old, my mom said, I was like, I'm ready for a motorcycle. She was like, that's not happening. We're gonna go the 4-wheel side of it. And I raced go-karts for several years, and then actually raced Indy cars to start off with. That was where my career path took me, and then I switched to NASCAR. So the road courses have always been my background. You know, I enjoy them because I feel like a driver, you still have to have a good car, but you can make a little bit more of a difference on a road course, especially if the car's not good. You get a little bit more out of it, and that's why I've always enjoyed doing is trying to get that little bit extra that maybe somebody else can't get in the car on a road course. So I put a lot of work into it. I've always put a lot of work into it, and more than anything, I think, we all feel like when you show up to a place or a job or, for us, a specific type of racetrack that you love, you already come in with a good attitude and know that you can go out there and go win that race.
I get the sense talking to you that you're the kind of person that's always looking for perfection, right? We bring up a win and you're like, yeah, but what about that one that I didn't win? And I want to point out, you've now secured back-to-back Xfinity Series regular season championships, something that you ought to feel good about. But also, what does that say about the program that you and Kaulig have been building over these past few years and the way that you've been racing?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice before I came here. I'd watched Kaulig racing at that point for about 3 years and kind of saw the growth of where they were going and really liked what they kind of had planned for it, because I feel like sometimes you come into the sport and as a team owner you want to grow too quick. You see all these organizations that have 3 or 4 cars and you feel like, okay, that's what we got to do. Well, Kaulig Racing didn't do that. They were a single car team for 3 to 4 years, and they would add a second car, and then that kind of led to a third car to where we are now. But more than anything, I've loved that. I feel like I'm part of that growth. It's a small part, but I feel like I've helped this team grow. We're growing together. I've say it daily now that I feel like I'm the best I've ever been in a race car at where I'm at in my life. And we're doing that together. So it's fun to be able to share all these wins that we've had. If you count the 2 regular season championships, I think in the 4 years we have 15 trophies. And that's what this team's all about, trophy hunting. That's Matt Kaulig's motto. So that's a lot of race wins and 2 regular season championships. And the way NASCAR does these championships now, it's exciting for the fan. You go to the final race. If you're part of that Final Four, you're racing 3 other drivers. And everything's on the line for that one race. But we have, in the Xfinity Series, we have 33 races. The Cup season's 36 races. So to win regular season championships, to me, is a big deal, because you do that over a 26-race period of executing and making your really bad days better than the other ones.
Right,
things
running
like
a marathon,
yeah,
not the sprint.
So those regular season championships mean a lot. Of course, we want to win the overall championship, get to Phoenix, be one of those Final Four, and win the overall championship. But to me, those regular season championships are a big deal, because that's 26 races 2 years in a row that we've been the best team.
What's cool about it to me is one little word that you use when you're talking about it. You don't talk about the program that they're building. You talk about the program that we are building. And that, to me, that sends all the right messages. It sounds like there's a good team, there's a good mentality on the team, and you guys obviously have great things ahead.
Jinger's house, baby. Jinger's house. Let's go!
AJ, what Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice, drivers like yourself, all the employees have built at Kaulig Racing in the last 6 years, it's impressive, to say the least. Building a winning Xfinity Series program and then entering the Cup Series full-time this year. Similarly, our grower customers are building and then growing their farming operations year over year as well. So what have you enjoyed about the process of building and establishing Kaulig Racing?
At the end of the day, I think if you do it around people that you enjoy and that have the same passion and just the same interest as you of where you see that company that you work for going, that's what makes it the most fun and the most rewarding, just because Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice, it's their program. They're the ones that have started it. Obviously, Matt's the team owner. It's his money. And Chris Rice has been there since day one. But when you get around the men and women that have the same passion, that all believe in each other, and we know how it goes. We can all have different opinions at times. And open discussions, maybe arguments if you want to go that direction. But at the end of the day, if you know that you're going to war with those people, and no matter what, you have each other's backs, and there's no finger pointing through the good or bad days, that's what makes it the most fun and the most rewarding. So I think that's what I have really enjoyed about Kaulig Racing is, I push myself as hard and I'm as hard on myself as anybody on this planet. So it's one of those things that they have my back. They know that I'm giving everything I have, whether I'm frustrated in the race car during the race or after the race. But all the men and women, you go back to the shop on Monday and you get ready for the next week, and that's what it's all about. So I love what we've built, and more importantly, I love what we can keep building and, keep winning trophies and maybe championships.
So that's similar to where we're at, Tom. I mean, our Nutrient Ag Solutions Sustainable Ag team is almost 2 years old, and it's been a lot of that same kind of building and transition and how do we rely on each other. And at least between Tom and I, sometimes people might call them arguments on the phone over direction that we should go, but we all work towards that same common goal of building that sustainable ag future. So as you've transitioned to a team that is in this establishment phase versus your past associations, how has that been different from coming into a team that's already established to being able to help build a team in Kaulig racing?
Yeah, it's, I've been very fortunate to drive for Roger Penske, drive for Richard Petty, and, teams like that you walk in the shop and you're blown away because you see all the history on the walls. And it's one of those things where in a way it can be a little intimidating, right? Because you walk in, you're like, wow, I mean, look at the history here. You just want to be part of that history. That's what I always said driving for Roger Penske. I was like, I just want to be on that wall somehow. They have all these wins and everything. They have 19 Borg Warner trophies sitting right there. The Indianapolis 500 winning trophy sitting right there when you walk in, and you're like, whew. So that can be intimidating, and you just want to be part of that history. When you come to an organization that doesn't have a lot of history and you can write that together, that's what's at least, me where I'm at in my life now in my career, like that's what's truly inspiring is like, I want to be the one that starts writing this history and being a part of this. And, hopefully 20 years down the line when they're so established and have so many wins, young drivers are walking in and seeing my picture up on the wall and like, okay, like that's where it started and that's where I want to get to. So that's what I think keeps pushing me. That's what I love about it. And more than anything, when you go to a company, and you all know this, that if you have a voice, and people are going to have voices and people are going to have opinions, and maybe sometimes they don't go the direction you think that you should go. But if you have a voice and you all can work together at least to get to that same end road of what you want to help make the company bigger, that's when you can have a lot of fun with it. And that's what Kaulig Racing has been about. So that's why I've really enjoyed being here.
So, AJ, a lot of times in our discussions today, we hear the word team over and over again. Just a lot of discussion about the well-functioning team. Well, a farming operation very much has a team, too, a support group that brings everything together that allows that grower to get to the production level he's trying to get to his economic sustainability or whatever it may be. And we think about that team. We're talking about not only the crop consultant, but having the ability to have product available when he needs it and how he needs it, to have a custom applicator, which could be the truck driver that brings it to the field. There's multiple different steps, including even the mechanics that work on all the equipment. When you think about a well-functioning team and you think about Kaulig Racing in general, what's your characteristics that you would see of a well-functioning team?
Well, at this organization and it starts with Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice, sure, it's, the Kaulig Racing team, but at the end of the day, it's actually the family. And that's what I've really loved about this race team, because a lot of teams could say, oh yeah, we're family, but the family's broken inside. Maybe it doesn't get out, but you see it at the shops and things like that. And this is a family, and Matt and Chris truly care about their people. I learned that firsthand during the pandemic when teams were shutting down or teams were laying off people or teams were cutting pay. That was the first thing that Matt said right away. Said, don't worry about it. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's got families at home. This isn't their fault that we're going through this. And, fortunately, Matt's in the position that, he's worked hard to grow Leaf Filter and all the other businesses now that he's associated with, that he's able to do that and take care of the people. But he doesn't have to. He had no right in it was not established to the point where he had to go do that. That was out of his own pocket and making sure that everybody was taken care of. So that's a family, and that starts with Matt Collig. So that trickles down inside the race team. You know, when people see that, they want to be part of it. And when people love the person that they work for, they're going to work harder. You know, you want everybody to give 100%, but all it takes is one person giving 95%, and that starts breaking up to the next person and the next person. That carries on down. And, you know, just like anything, it starts, we got 65, 70 mechanics at the shop. You know, if one starts just, I'm not going to worry about that piece of the race car, that's a trickle-down effect. And unfortunately, it gets to me where my life's on the line. So I think that's what it really comes down to, is making sure everybody's in it together and everybody understands that each person cares about each other, each person's willing to help each other to get to the end result of trying to win races.
AJ, before you got here today, we were having some discussions with some of the team members from Collig Racing, and they described Matt as being a pay it forward kind of guy. In fact, to the point that he's interested in bringing young talent into the racing teams and so forth and so on. So he's not only interested in the here and now, but he's interested in what's coming in the future. And to me, that's a huge example of a guy who's willing to pay it forward and has concern about the next generation. And our farming customers that we deal with, it's about the sons and the daughters are the different ones that we're paying it forward to. So would you describe Matt as that pay it forward kind of guy?
For sure. You know, I think we live in a day and age where it's easy. We all want it now, right? We have everything at our fingertips, the technology. You know, you want to buy something, you go buy it right now. You want to go do something, you go do it right now. So it's so easy sometimes, especially, and I feel like farming's the same way because you need results right away. People don't want to wait 6 months down the line. Mm-hmm. Show me the results right now. But unfortunately, sometimes the results right now are not what is best for the company 3 years from now. So there's always that fine line of trying to figure out, okay, what can we do right now to make sure we have the results? But 5 years from down the line, we're still in business. And I think that's where Matt is so good at looking at that. And that's what happens when you start a company out of your basement. And heck, if you'd have told Matt, hey, you're going to make $2 million this year out of your basement, but you know what? 10 years from now, you're probably not going to have this company anymore. What would he do? Probably most of us have been like, give me the $2 million right now. I'll figure it out later. Well, that's the way Matt looks at stuff. It's like, okay, no, I'm looking at the future. I want to see how big this thing's going to get. And that's the way he runs the company. And, you know, that's why you start with a single car and you stay a single car for 3 to 4 years. And then you start adding them slowly and doing it the right way. So, you know, what Matt has done and is doing and continually will do is been fantastic for this company. And that's a big part of the reason why I want to be here for a long time.
Well, and that very much parallels when we talk about sustainable planning in the field is, yeah, you can do a practice this year to get an immediate result, but what's that doing to that whole operation, to that field, to the soil, and is it still going to be something that brings you value 3 to 5 years from now? So it's a really parallel as we look at sustainability on the farm.
This is probably, I'm 40 years old and I've been in racing my whole life. It's tougher than ever because it's for rookies, it's tough when they get in the race car because it's not like, hey, we'll give you a couple. It used to always be by your third year, if you hadn't figured it out, okay, then we're going to start looking at it. They look at it, it's like, if you hadn't figured it out in 6 months, okay, what's the next guy going to do? And the same thing goes with trying to make the race cars faster and everything that goes with that. So right now I feel like in everything that we do, it's probably the toughest time ever. We definitely have the most technology, the most things that we need at our fingertips, but it's also the easiest to make the wrong decisions really quick. So
well, and the technology is another one, Tom, where we have so much technology in agriculture that if you're not using it right, it's just technology for technology's sake. And I would imagine you guys see the same thing where it's, yeah, there's this cool new thing we can add on, but are we adding it on because it's a cool new thing or because we're really going to put some value in the data or whatever it is that's coming out of that technology?
For sure, in that sense. And then I feel like probably the same for you guys is the same for racing. You see this race team over here doing something different. you're like, well, heck, we probably got to do that.
Yeah.
We don't know that's the right thing to do, but they're doing it.
But
so
it's
we
trendy.
But we might as well try that.
Right.
And you can easily go down a bad path, and the next thing you know, you're lost and you don't know how to get back there. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy to make a quick decision that's not always the right decision.
We talk a lot ahead of planting season, especially about the need for having a well thought out plan and controlling what you can control, but then also being ready to improvise if the need arises, because inevitably it will. Inevitably something is not going to go according to plan, and you need to be able to move on your feet and stay with it too. And sometimes you've just got to send it. And we wanted to talk about a time recently when you just sent it, Bristol. Last year. I mean, we're talking about you guys probably game planned for that and game planned for that. And at the end of the day, the reason that you slid sideways across the finish line before anybody else did is because you just improvised and sent it. Take us through your head. What was going through your mind as you were coming into the final stretch there at Bristol?
Yeah, so it was the end of the regular season championship. It had been a battle between myself and Austin Cindric. And we had, I think, a 5 or 6 point lead going into that race. And if he didn't win the race and finish second, all I had to do was finish within 5 spots of him. Well, unfortunately, like Austin Cindric had done many a times, they got hooked up during that race, and he was going to win it. And we were running fourth. We were having a really good night, but unfortunately, it was a night that was going to make us second in the championship. Well, they had a 2-lap restart. I got to start inside them, and I just made a decision in my head. I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to go win this thing. And I made a move in 3 and 4, coming to the white flag. That didn't work. We bounced off each other, and it all kind of played out to where when we did that, another car got to the inside of us, and I knew he wasn't going to make the corner, so he slid wide, and I took the lead down the back straightaway. I looked in the mirror, and I thought, well, Austin's still right behind me, so this is going to get big coming to the checkered. So I made the decision that in the middle of 3 and 4, once I went to the throttle, I wasn't lifting again until we got across the line, however we got across the line. Because I knew after I'd run inside of him, payback was coming. So as he started to hit me, I was like, this is going to hurt. But I'm not lifting until I cross the line, I hit the fence, and I know I've got it. So if you watch the replay, you can see the tires spinning.
Oh, I did.
Forward.
I watched it over and over again.
They're spinning forward because I'm in the throttle until it crosses the finish line. And then I try to hit the brakes as quick as possible, but it was quite big. The worst part of it was I was in the medical center after, and my teammate, Justin Haley's sitting there. I was like, dude, what happened to you? He's like, I ran into you after the checkered. I was like, oh, that was you? He was like, yeah. I was like, we destroyed both cars? He's like, destroyed them. I was like, oh. I was like, well, at least we won. So, but that's I have that in me no matter what. But, for Kaulig Racing, that's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to lay it on the line. And I think that inspires all the men and women to see, like, hey, like, he's willing to put himself at risk to go try to win for us. So that all goes back to that family atmosphere and that going to war together, that they see it. I'm going to do what it takes. And I know they're working as hard as that they can at the shop to be better. And you talk about improvising and maybe not going according to plan. If you look at our season this year, you look at the stats, it's like, holy moly, that's a great season. But there's been, I'd call it turmoil in the middle of the season, not inside the team, but turmoil in the sense that we haven't been as fast as we want to be, and we've had to improvise, and we've had to maximize on just a day that wasn't very good to make it better, and that's why we won the regular season championship. So I think that's always a lesson in life. It's like, it's not always going to go according to plan. You just got to figure out on that day or that week or that month, okay, how can we make the best of it? So hopefully down the line we keep getting better, and that's where we're at. We're still not as where we want to be, but we're getting better every race.
So on October 5th, you guys announced that you're going to be going full-time to Cup Racing in 2023. What made this the right time to make that change, and what's the planning that goes into making a change like that?
Yeah, so it's this year has been a lot of fun because with the new Cup car, I've been able to run 17 or 18 races, or at the end of the year, that's kind of about how many I'll have run. So I've actually enjoyed driving the race car. Like, it's a fun car, at least for me to drive. So that was part of it, is like okay, this car is enjoyable to drive, and I wouldn't mind doing it full time. But truly, at the end of the day, I had told Matt Collig and Chris Rice, I said, whatever you want me to do for this company, I'll do it. If that's full-time Cup or full-time Xfinity or whatever you want me to do, that's what I want to do. And we had a lot of discussions about it. It wasn't made over a week period of like, okay, let's just do this. We went back and forth, okay. And that's what I love about Matt and Chris, because the last time I was in Cup, I kind of got burnt out, and that's why I thought I was going to the TV side of it, and that's why I thought I was only going to be running a couple races for Collig Racing once they called. So they're really in the mindset of they don't want me to get in that burnt out side ever again. And I'm different now and where I was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't really see that happening. But there's a lot of talks about it, but we just felt like this was the right time. The 16 car, which I've been driving this year in the Cup side of it, we've been sharing it amongst 3 drivers. That car needs a full-time driver. You can't keep doing that. Justin Haley in the 31 in the Cup car has done a fantastic job, so we just felt it was the right time, and we're bringing Chandler Smith to fill my shoes in the 16 Xfinity car. He's got so much talent, 20 years old. So, I think Collig is we talk about the now and the future, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully I can keep making this team better and better over the next few years, and we got the future in line, hopefully.
What would it mean to bring home the championship for Collig Racing as you head off into full-time Cup Series racing?
Yeah, to me it would be the cherry on top. This championship's so hard to win now because, as we've talked about, you have to get to Phoenix. One of 4 drivers that make it to that championship race and have a shot at the championship, and then on that day, you have to be the best out of those 4. And you can win 32 races in the Xfinity Series, but you don't win the right one, you're not the champion. I mean, it's a tough championship to win. So I don't put everything on the overall championship as it's make or break, and if we don't win it, it's a terrible season. I make the comment all the time. If you look at my teammate Daniel Hemrick's season last year when he was at Joe Gibbs, he didn't win all year, but he got to Phoenix, won the final race, won the championship. It was amazing to watch him do that. Like the way he did it was spectacular. I'd have loved to have that walk-off moment, but I also won 6 times last year. And Collig Racing, together we won 5 Xfinity races and a Cup race at Indy. I'd have never traded that season in for what Daniel did. But it would be the cherry on top, and that's what the end goal is, to win the championship. But no matter what, we've had a great year. Hopefully we got, count the Rova as we speak now about it. We got 4 more races before we get to Phoenix. So that means we can win, 5 more times. So it's one of those things that it doesn't change how the seasons went. It's been great, win a regular season championship, but it definitely would be the cherry on top to walk off out of the Xfinity Series and go full-time Cup again.
Well, as you get after it, know that you do it with the entire Nutrien Ag Solutions family, the crop consultants nationwide, growers everywhere. Everybody's going to be pulling for you in that 16 car. So, and it's just been a real treat for us to get to know you and have you tell your story to them as well. We wanted to end real quick with a lightning round, if you're up for it. We just want to do a little bit of word association. I'm going to say a word or phrase. I want you to just snap back with the word or phrase that pops into your head.
Are you sure you want to enter this head like that? I don't know.
Hashtag no filter. Let's go.
I don't
No
know.
filter, yeah.
I don't know if we want to do that.
So the first one that we wanted to do for word association is success.
Important.
How about underrated?
Overstated.
Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Do I have to do one word on that, or do I?
Word or phrase.
It's a fantastic family I've learned about.
Agriculture.
So I've already used the word important. I think it's a necessity.
Yeah. Collig Racing.
My family.
And the number 16 Chevy Camaro.
Best race car out there.
There you
Absolutely.
go. Well, and we got the best race car driver out there, too, as well. AJ Allmendinger from Collig Racing. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Future Faster.
Thank you, guys.